Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hormone Helper Podcast. I'm Coach Andrew, your hormone helper from Fit for All Fitness. I personally coach over 1,600 men and women to help better understand their hormones so they can lose weight and get their metabolism back on track. With this podcast, you're going to hear from me and my special guests about everything from metabolism to thyroid to weight loss. And we even talk a little bit of sexy time as we chat to spread more knowledge, thick like butter, on your hormones. If you're ready to learn, I'm ready to share, so let's do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Hormone Helper Podcast. And today I have a very amazing Coach Morgan Emery on with me today, and he's here to talk about leadership and high performance mindset. It's fantastic to see you again. I literally felt like I just saw you yesterday because I did. How are you, man? What is going on, brother?
I'm great. Anytime I am in your presence, Andrew, life is good. Positivity radiates, man. So I appreciate you.
I love it, eh? Like-minded people, we all come and join together, right? So I'm actually really excited to have you on the podcast today because we're talking about like minds. We're talking about high performance mindset. We're talking about leadership. But before we go into that stuff, why don't you educate and tell people about who you are and how you've kind of found yourself into this leadership coach role that you're doing now, brother?
Awesome. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be here. And for all of our listeners, this is going to be a stellar podcast episode. So for myself, coaching, first of all, was never a vision I saw in my future. I never thought I would actually be in coaching, but over my trajectory of my past of working in corporate sales, being an entrepreneur, this is basically what I felt I was guided and led into in order to fulfill my mission in life, which is to add value and to serve people as best I can. So for myself, it really started off about 8 years ago in the corporate world. Excuse me. 8 years ago, corporate world, and I was in technology sales. Tech sales, working for some companies. I was selling photocopiers and printers and IT solutions and software. Nothing is about it. It was an absolute grind. But I was making some really great money at it. I was refining my skills. I was honing my talents, doing well, getting promoted, and taking some of the commissions that I earned, and I was investing it in real estate. I was really trying to set myself up for the future. I was going after everything that everyone speaks about in terms of investing in your future, trying to create security for yourself and build financial wealth. And I was doing that. Basically, 3 years into that job, I wanted to apply myself a little bit more, and I wanted to earn more money. That was my motivator. And so what I did was I looked around for other sales jobs in the corporate world that would pay exponentially greater. And I found myself looking into the medical industries and got aligned with a company that provided laser services to plastic surgeons, dermatologists, doctors, medical spas. So I was entering into a world I had no idea about, the Botox and injectables and the beauty industry.
Yeah, that's a little different than photocopiers, man.
Vastly, I didn't even know how to spell laser, man. Stepping into that world was very interesting for me. I always used to think, looking at, beautiful women. Okay. I would look at them and I would see their lips and I'd be like, wow, their lips are so full. They're so amazing. They're so good. And I came to find out that in the Botox and injectables world, this was like a huge trend. So for all my female listeners out there who do have Botox and injectables, absolutely love you. But at the same time, I found out you were all frauds. I'm totally kidding. You can cut that out of the podcast if you like. And so I got into this world and I started to make some great money. And I was surrounded with, by far, the highest performing sales reps I've ever met. I mean, we were working KPI 75-hour work weeks, traveling on weekends, 2 cell phones going all the time, metrics that were huge metrics from, doing 50 cold calls a day plus 25 drop-ins 2 businesses on top of sending out 10 DMs over Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And running 3 meetings a day. So extremely aggressive sales culture. And it was great. I'm making a ton of money, becoming very successful, again, honing my skills at a different level and continue to invest in my future, invest in real estate. But I was on the sure path to burnout, man. And I basically ended up burning out hardcore. And I was having, depression at nights because I was unfulfilled during the days in which I was working. My energy levels were low. My, speaking to you, fitness coach, my diet wasn't aligned. My hormones were out of whack because I'm on the road all the time, pushing caffeine just to stay alive. And, having anxiety in the mornings just to deal with the day and what it's everything that's going to take and require of me as a person. Led me to burnout, and I had to make a shift and a change in my life. And I felt at that point in time I was being called or led or guided by the universe or whatever you want to call it, your heart or God, to something bigger than myself. It was always my heart to be with people, to build relationships with people, to serve people, to add value to people. That's why I originally got into sales, but soon I found out that on that journey, I was really just looking to serve myself, and I was no longer serving my clients. I was very selfishly ambitious and not servanthood ambitious. And so on that journey, I ended up hearing some great pieces of advice from top coaches around the world, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, John Maxwell, all of which I've been certified with, and I've attended seminars and events and coaching from them, which has been transformational for my life. And Tony said this. He said, back in ancient times, there were certain Viking tribes who would go to the land in which they wanted to take and possess. And the Viking tribes, when they ever had a formidable enemy in front of them, and they knew that these lands were possessed by a great king or by a very strong opponent, they would come on their boats and they would burn the boats on which they came. So it only left them with one option: to complete the mission or to die trying. And when I heard that piece of advice, that fundamentally made a shift in my life to say, okay, I need to make a decision. If I'm feeling in my heart, my soul, I need to get aligned with something new, something greater for my purpose. Okay, boom. Then that's what I got to do. I got to burn the boats. I got to burn my past in a certain sense upon which I came and traveled to enter into a new land. So that was one thing that was helped me get aligned with where I ended up being, which was into coaching. Another one was a quote that hit my desk, that hit my heart hardcore, and it was, the ultimate failure in life is success with no fulfillment. And I'm like, ooh, that's me. That's me. I'm getting this success. I'm making this money. I'm getting prestige. I'm getting recognized. I'm performing super well in my sales job, and I'm not fulfilled. So I decided to go after something that was going to fulfill me a whole lot more. On this journey, I basically quit my corporate sales job, turned my back on my financial trajectory of owning about $10 million in real estate portfolio, which I was on track to do. I ended up giving all that up to go find my purpose, to go find fulfillment, and to go find an alignment with my heart, serving people. So I took 6 months off that job. Some very interesting things happened during that season, that period of time. I did some traveling. I did some just deep inner work. I got some coaches that could start to help me find the clarity that I needed. I was fasting, praying, and then I got aligned with getting into coaching. And it, again, was nothing I ever thought I was going to be doing. And it just so happened that that was the position that I was being led and guided into. So I got certified by the best coaches in the world. John Maxwell, top leadership coach, Bob Proctor, top mindset coach, and Tony Robbins, top physiology coach in the world. And that's led me to where I am today.
I love it, man. I think it's so interesting because healing really starts with the mind and the heart. And a lot of times, like you said, we find ourselves in these positions where we are so focused on the external success or the destination of where we want to go, or of where we believe is going to make us happy. And then we don't enjoy the journey. We don't enjoy the process. We don't understand why we're there. And then those destinations become really, really hollow. So I'm super pumped that you're here on the podcast, and I appreciate you sharing that really inspiring story. I think as coaches, at some level, something always happens in which creates a greater calling.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to hear that you've chosen coaching, because I know that I love coaching and just educating everybody. I know that we're probably going to be able to only scratch the surface on some of this stuff, but I wanted to share on this podcast and kind of unpack with you kind of leadership and high performance mindset. What
Mm-hmm.
would you say, or what do you define leadership as? What is that for you?
Great question. I'll make it as simple as possible because I think real wisdom and knowledge comes in simplicity. So I would say that defining leadership, I would define leadership as a matter of influence, nothing more, nothing less. And that definition comes from John Maxwell, who is the most recognized authority in leadership today.
Interesting. The influence, I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of power that they have on others, on themselves. I think people are sometimes not fully prepared to step into the influence that they have. So I find it very interesting that you used that word, because most people associate it like just typical social media, like person who's like selfie, boom, check. But it's like that's not the type of influence that you're talking about, right?
Mhm.
What challenges are you seeing when, whether you're working with someone or even just you're communicating with people, like what challenges are you seeing that people are struggling with from a leadership perspective that prevents them from showing up as the
Mhm.
highest version of themselves?
Great question. I mean, I always start with this when I come into an organization. I'm working with CEOs, CFOs, business leaders. Is that the hardest person to lead is yourself. You by far have to become a leader of your own life before you can lead men and women, before you can lead an organization. So the greatest challenge, I believe, is creating the type of character that resembles a great leader, a character of trust, a character of integrity, a character of faith, a character of courage. And it's those qualities, those internal character building things, attributes, that really are the number one area people must lead from. And so many great leaders miss this because they're always looking at what external things do I need to do? How do I need to communicate my vision better? How do I need to equip people better? How do I need to come across more charismatic and get buy-in from people? Well, everyone recognizes subconsciously, intuitively, the character of the leader. And so character development is by far the number one area every leader must focus on working on first. Apart from that, I would say the number one struggle I see leaders deal with in terms of their followers and how to get their followers more engaged, more encouraged, more active to support the vision and mission of the leader is that they have to become people who take their eyes off of themselves. They have to become far less selfishly ambitious, self-centered, and begin to be servant-centered. You have to look to people to complete your mission or your vision in life. Great leaders and leadership defined in the 21st century is called servanthood leadership. And what does it mean to be a servant-based leader? It means to be serving the followers, serving the needs of the organization, serving the needs of the client. So get your eyes off yourself, get your eyes onto the people. that is typically very difficult for us to do because many of us who are in leadership positions are very talented, are very charismatic. We are very intelligent people. And so innately, we got big egos in the game. And ego is all about self. Destroy your ego, get your eyes off yourself, put it on other people. That's what I'd say, Andrew.
It's interesting because as you're saying that, and I'm unpacking some of these things that are coming up for me, it's really interesting because when I come across clients who kind of have these sticking points with health, they claim to be serving other people, in which case they're like, it's all about my kids, I'm always putting myself last, it's all about my partner, he brings in the food, I'm always eating garbage. And when doing that, you bring up a really valid point. You do want to serve other people, and it's really, really important. However, you never ever mentioned in any of that the serving someone at the cost of yourself, serving someone at the cost of your goals, your dreams, your life, your health, your relationships. What is the difference between someone who is able to be self-led or someone who's open to, whether it's working with a coach or hiring someone for support or joining some type of a support group? What characteristics do you think that they have or that someone should have to be able to still succeed with themselves personally? It doesn't matter whether it's health goals or not, but then at the same time be able to build what you're talking about, which is a community that supports you, because we don't get anywhere. Like I believe the saying was, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Right. And that aspect, how do you, or I guess, what do you feel that people should be working on in that sense, or looking towards to have both, where they can accomplish the things that they want for their businesses, their personal health, and at the same time still be able to serve the people who are around them in a community sense?
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've begun by opening up and saying one of the greatest or the hardest people to lead is yourself. This always is first a self journey, because you can't give what you don't have. You can't fill up someone's cup when yours is empty. So therefore, you need to be a person who is full of life, vitality, energy, vision, mission, life, truth, integrity, all of these beautiful characteristics that ultimately you want to see your followers embody so they can carry out the mission and the vision of the corporate organization. So I think it's simply, I'd boil it down to, how there's the golden rule, right? Love your neighbors, you love yourself. The problem to the rule is if you don't love yourself, how can you love your neighbor? That's where it falls apart. People often miss this. There's a rule above that says, okay, I'm gonna use a Christian perspective right now. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Okay, so we would say, if we love God, then we go from that love to loving other people, right? So if I believe God is within me, and I believe this is true for all of us, I believe God is within you. So if you are on the journey of loving God within you, which means you're on the journey of loving yourself, then you can love other people. So by serving yourself, you serve other people. By adding value to yourself, you add value to other people. So when I said leadership is a matter of influence, nothing more, nothing less, here's the 3 steps to creating influence. And this backs up what I just said. They're the 3 steps of what you call just adding value. And the first one is you genuinely have to value people. If you want to create influence in a person's life, you have to value people. And if you don't value people, inevitably, you undervalue people. Valuing people is number 1 for who they are, for what their strengths are, for what their skin color is, for what their sexual identity is. It doesn't matter. You have to learn how to love and value people. First step of great leaders who can create transformational influence in their followers' lives. Number 2 is you got to become more valuable. As a leader, you have to become more valuable, which means increasing your worth, increasing your value as a person, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, relationally, financially, all of that stuff. Become more valuable as a person, because what you don't have, you can't give. And third would be to add value to people the way they need to be valued. Many leaders add value to people in the way they think the follower needs to be valued. But when you get your eyes off of self and you put yourself in your followers' shoes, then you can begin to equip them, encourage them, add value to them, understand them, serve them from that place. So adding value to people the way they need to be valued. And so I think in that 3-step process, it answers that question for yourself. How do I work on my business? How do I still maintain my levels of energy and health and vitality without going out and just serving people like crazy to the point I'm burnt out? Well, you can't serve people when you're burnt out. You can't serve people when you don't have a full cup and when your car is on empty. You're not serving people anymore. This is actually the number one misunderstanding of the people pleaser archetype.
When I'm chatting with people, the word that I'm always looking for in the back of my mind is alignment. Are you in actual alignment with what you say that you're doing? Are you in alignment with your goals? Are you in alignment with your business? Are you in alignment with the vision that you have? Some people don't know where their alignment stands. And I'm sure you come across this because they don't have the vision. Where, I'll chat with someone and be like, what does success look like to you for this process? How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? They're like, I have no idea. Well, how can I help at this point? Or how do we know where you need to go if you cannot envision yourself there? And this part of being able to lead or being able to show up as your highest version of yourself for others is because personally, if you're not congruent with the things that you're thinking, the thoughts that you're feeling, the acts that you're putting every single day, you are going to fail. You're going to fail because all of those things are not a true reflection of where you should be going or what you should be doing. And these are almost like little micro failures that sometimes people don't recognize. And you talk about leading, like it's leading really at the smallest level. So like if you say you're going to wake up at 5 a.m.,
that's right.
Do you wake up at 9 or 8:30 or something lower? Are you like, hey, I'm getting in my 3 meals, but I skipped one? Or I've got a client meeting at 1 o'clock, but I failed to let the client know and I missed that meeting and then I'm not accountable for stuff. And the lack of accountability, I feel, is like a big part that people are missing now that's really preventing them is showing up at the highest level of leadership for yourself.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, it's, when you take the word alignment, I love it. It's a great word. I think today it's basically, one of those trigger words that everyone's using and everyone can kind of resonate with. Yeah. But alignment to me is really getting into your heart of your why. And AKA your why is your purpose. See, I believe when you're aligned with purpose, you do experience the highest abundance of great relationships, financial earnings, health, mentality, spirituality. When you're aligned with your purpose, that's why Mark Twain says the 2 most important days in a person's life are the day they're born and the day they figure out why. Number one question you can ask yourself every day when you wake up is why? Why today? Why today am I lucky enough to have another day? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I getting up for my job? Why am I looking to serve people? Why am I trying to create wealth? Why am I going to the gym? Why really are you doing it? That helps you get to the root of your heart again. When you can access your heart, that is the place of, you can say the place of your being, or you can call it your soul, whatever you want to call it. It's the place of your being. It's the place of your essence. When that thing is aligned, with your purpose, you're unstoppable.
That type of mentality and headspace is also driven and used by people who never seem to rely on motivation. And we all know that person. That person is like, how the hell do you get up and do what you do every single day? Because they
Mm.
love it. They believe in it. They're completely aligned
Mhm.
with it. They're super
Mhm.
passionate about it. And that's the key is they clearly understand at that fundamental level. They found it. And, I think in today's day and age where you're in salary jobs, maybe you've got an executive position, you own your own business, and there are pieces and bits of maybe your why that but some of the stuff you're still trying to figure out. It's like, that's fine, but continue to work on that every day. Continue to find what that why is in that piece is.
That's right.
And I love that, man. I think it's huge. Now,
Yeah.
you and I are working on a live event. That live event that's going to be October 28th, which is fantastic. And yeah, you and I are going to be talking about building a high performance mindset. And I know and I believe that a large part of success is essentially building and reshaping the habits and the belief systems that you're talking about. But whenever we start bringing up this high performance mindset, it just goes right over people's heads. What would you
Mhm.
say? What is a high performance mindset for someone,
Mhm.
whether it be a
Mhm.
leader in their health, their mental headspace? What does that look like?
There's so many thoughts coming to me right now. I would start off. You got to define high performance. Okay. What is a high performer? Now, Brandon Bouchard is probably one of the top respected authorities on high performance because he's invested the most money into doing research studies of the top high performers around the world in every class, whether that's athletically, in entrepreneurship, in celebrity status, singers, you name it, high performers, top ranking people. And he defines high performance as someone who succeeds over the long term in any area of their life without sacrificing or compromising their well-being, their relationships, their health, their mentality, their spirituality. So there's people here probably on the podcast who know very wealthy individuals whose relationship at home is falling apart. Or you may know someone who has the best physical body in the world, but their finances are out of control. They're dismal. These would not be considered, according to Brandon Bouchard, high performers. High performers are succeeding in any area over the long term without compromising your well-being or your relationships. So when we talk about a high performance mindset, then you got to say, well, okay, what is a mindset? And, I would say a mindset basically is your internal thoughts, emotions, and will. You can break down the mind into those three main arenas between the conscious and the subconscious and the unconscious mind. It's about thoughts, emotions, and will. And those areas are really where you see the mindset, when people use the word mindset, come alive. Mindset is not just thinking. Mindset is also feeling, and mindset is also acting. It's your ability to act on something. It's your ability to feel something. It's your ability to think something. The quality of you being a high performer, or your ability to be a high performer, will be based on the quality of the thoughts, emotions, and actions you can consistently take. And that's really what defines a high performer.
Yeah. So I find that people, and maybe some of you listeners listening can really relate to this, people kind of delve between two realms. They only do the thoughts,
That's
thinking,
right.
planning. It's all strategy. There's no implementation. Or they only do actions with no thought, with no planning, with no strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way that you combine all three, because it's like you can have a really, really good high level of one, but you need all three. You need balance in order for
Yeah.
that to happen. And people get caught in this where they're like, I don't get it. I'm doing all the steps. Every time I learn something new, I'm going to apply the tool. I'm going to throw it just kind of into my life. And it just never works the way that they believe it should work. And the same thing with the thinking, like there's only so much that you can continue to think about it before it's like, what the hell are you actually going to do about the situation that you're in?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that definition of that mindset. So
Yeah.
if someone wants to put themselves into a high performance mindset, what are a few things that people can do maybe to change the way that their mindset is around their health and their fitness goals, or even around their job and their business?
Yeah, love that. So we have to understand it's, change your thoughts, change your emotions, change your verbiage, your inner self-talk and your outer self-talk, change your life. Okay. So it's getting in control, intentional control of those areas of your life to then take right action. You want to have right thought, right emotion, right verbiage before you ever take action. You need the action and you must take massive action. Yes, yes, yes. But when the greater action we often miss is the action of doing the deep inner work of getting our thoughts right, our emotions right, and our words right in life, because those are the three creative sources in life. It's by those three things we as human beings can create great results. You need action, definitely. Those three things are absolutely paramount. So I would say that, I could give you a ton of practical exercises, the science behind them and why it works. But the biggest and first thing you need to do is identify. You must identify first the thoughts that are not serving you, are not aligned with your goals, are not aligned with the results you want to create for your life, the emotions that you want to shift and want to change, and the words that you consistently are speaking to yourself that may not be aligned with your goals, your results, or what you want to build for your life. Out of identifying them, then you can begin to make a plan and to change them. A lot of times the hardest step is the identification of it. Why? Because they reside in our subconscious mind and they're emotions that we're most commonly used to feeling from childhood. So these thoughts, these emotions, and these words become something so strong in us that people call the operating paradigm of your life. And that is called your identity. The name of the game is changing your identity. If you want to take it from 100K to 100 million, that requires you to become a totally reinvented, newly identified man or woman. You can't resonate with the same people, the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same words, the same habits, the same actions as you did at 100K as you want to at 100 million. Jim Rohn says this. He says, everyone should strive to be a millionaire, not to earn $1 million, but because of what it will require of you to become a millionaire. That's a great piece of wisdom. So every level in life in which we want to grow and expand our comfort zone, we want to make shifts and changes and implement new goals. I love that. I think that's all great. I do tons of coaching on that stuff. The number one thing you got to shift is your identity. And the number one way to do that is through your thoughts, your emotions, and your words. And the beginning of that journey comes to identifying what they are. Once you know what they are, then you can say, okay, great. I know what they are, but I want to change them. And this is what I want them to become. So know what they are and know the new thoughts, emotions, and words that you want to experience. You want to feel. You want to think. You want to say about yourself and the life you want to create. Once you know what those are, then we do the deep inner work of reprogramming that subconscious mind, of shifting the identity and transforming your life.
Yeah. Everything you say literally lights me up, because this was something that I never fully recognized until about like a year and a half ago. I was always stuck in the logical mind. And I think everyone's like, if I just have these action steps and I do these things, then it should just end up in a result. And I think, especially from the word perspective, sometimes we sabotage because we get caught in the reactive state and we don't, like you said, recognize what it is that we are doing in this moment. It is automated. Just like someone can, it's a habit that at 8:30 at night, every night, you're reaching into the fridge and you're like, why am I here? You don't even know, because it's just happened for so long. Same thing happens with our thoughts. And I forget who said this, but words have more power, and that's why it's called spelling, because it compels you and can put you. Oh, there you go. Right. So I knew that you would know who it was, but it's truly phenomenal, and a lot of people don't take the words that they say seriously, even in how they are writing the goals as well. So like, I know one of the things that we're putting in our live event is going to be like goal setting, vision, and mission, and making sure that everyone is in alignment with that. And we're starting off with that really because you need to also, from a verbiage perspective, like there needs to be belief that it can happen. Like, I must do this. This is going to achieve. I'm looking forward to these next steps. And writing maybes, I'd like to, it'd be nice to have. They're almost non-committal. And I find, especially now, people are in this weird place where they want decisions to be made for them, but they want a life that they can control. That doesn't work. Right? Where it's like, I want a stable job to make stable money, but I want the flexibility to do whatever I want. Those are opposite, because you don't get stability with that flexibility. I want to be able to have, body, I'm 185, 6% body fat, but yet Saturday, Sunday, Friday, I'm out till 2:00 in the morning drinking 15 beers. That also doesn't work. And a lot of the times when you give that power away, you're allowing someone else, a job, a position, maybe a client or a customer, to make decisions for you instead of actually taking that decision upon yourself. Why do you think people do that, man?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it's a multifaceted answer, but I think the number one reason why people, basically what I'm hearing is like, you want to make a decision for your life, but you keep living from old habits. You keep living from old places, and therefore you're not actually ever getting closer to your decision. And I love this piece of advice. When your wants become a must, or when your wants become musts, then you change in life. There's a difference in the verbiage. A must is an absolute undecided, or an absolute decided, committed resolution to going after something. A want is just, it's just something I desire. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take the action to do it. So I believe this still comes back to your identity, because it's like this. I've heard it explained like this when talking about identity, and people are like, what is identity? Okay. So it's like a thermostat in a room. The comfortable temperature for you is 21 degrees Celsius. Awesome. If it gets a little bit too cold in your house and the temp goes down to about 15, what happens? You get uncomfortable in the 15 degrees, and you eventually walk over to that thermostat and you turn it back up to 21 degrees, and it heats back up to your comfortable zone. This is what happens when you have an identity about yourself, aka like, I'm 100K a year earner. That's my identity. I'm this kind of guy. I got a 6-pack at 42 years old. That's my identity. So when you put on 10 extra pounds, it got a little cold in the room. You're not living up to your identity. What do? You turn back up the heat. You get that 6-pack back in your life, or you're only earning 30K when you know you're worth 100. Bang. Then you shift up, you kick it into high gear, and you start earning 100K, because that's your comfortable identity. The same thing applies when you try to make a shift in the upwards direction. So comfortable temp is 21, and I want to turn my life up to 32. I want to turn it up from 100K to 200K. I've been overweight my whole life, and I really want to get in shape for the first time in my life. Okay, so what do? You turn up the heat for a little bit of time. And you get going, you start doing some new habits, new routines, you're reading new books, you're trying extra hard, you're working, you're grinding. And what happens over time is that you realize it's a little too hot. You cool back down to your comfortable zone of 21 degrees. And that's how the majority of us live. We have our identity, and we get a little bit hotter and a little bit colder and a little bit hotter and a little bit colder all of our life, but we never really progress the identity. What you want to do is get your identity to shift to 32 degrees if you want to make that upwards trajectory in your life, or trajectory in the life, and then start taking action from that place. That's the key.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that cool? That's how it works.
That's
so
wild.
Working on someone's identity, though, is tough, man. It's not easy. Like, that is like, if you as a coach,
you mentioned ego, right?
Yeah, that's it. For all of my coaches out there, if there's one skill I can tell you to master, it would be Mastering the ability to help someone change their identity. If you can do that, you can take them from smoker to non-smoker, from poor to rich, from unsuccessful to successful, from a doubter to having faith, from someone who has only fear operating in their life and anxiety to someone who has courage and ability to take action. If you can change someone's identity, you can change their life.
Freaking love that. This is for you guys listening. This is literally only a fraction. And I know that we can talk about this forever. This is pure gold, but keep this 21 degree, keep this temperature example, because I think it's beautifully said in the back of your mind, and ask yourself really this question, like, how comfortable are you right now with where you are? That's huge. It's okay for you to admit to yourself, like, maybe I don't want to change right now. But if you're not comfortable, if you don't like where you are, if you want things to change, this is the headspace you need to do. This is the work that needs to be done. And I know that this is just a fraction. I just wanted to mention this. We're going to have Morgan on the podcast probably a bunch of other times. I'm sure we can make part 4, 5s, and 6s out of this. But like I said, this is the reason why I partnered with Morgan to do this event, the live seminar that we're calling the Reconnect Seminar, and that's because in order for us to break the ceiling on whether it's a financial ceiling, whether it's a ceiling that we've had in health, maybe we're seeing things in our life that we don't like to change, we really do need to redevelop and create a whole new person of who we are.
That's right.
And Morgan only talked about 3 principles, but there's so much more that comes into unpacking this. So we would love to, of course, have you at the event and have us help you unpack this. I believe that's a huge benefit for coaching as well. And I appreciate Morgan being on here. I'm going to leave links for you guys if you want to work on the leadership piece, you want to show up as personal versions, the best version of yourself. Reach out to Morgan, have that conversation on coaching. Otherwise, if you're looking for that up level and that way to be able to put yourself into that high performance mindset, we'd freaking love to have you October 28th. It's in Canada. I know there are some American listeners and stuff, right? But fly out. I've got clients that are trying to look into the flights right now. You can fly out single day. We've got workshops on health. We've got vision and goal setting. We're going to be looking at the performance perspective, both physical and mental. So we'll be talking about hormones as well. Coach Morgan will be there to help, get you back to the best and most self-loving version that you can be. And I'll be here to make sure that machine can actually run and support that. That's the most important part. So I absolutely love having you on, brother. And I appreciate that. I'll make sure where can they find, I know I've got your Instagram, right? Is there anywhere else in which somebody can reach out to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll give you guys the exclusive offer right now. Here's my cell phone number. Here's my number.
Look at that.
I'm doing
there
that.
We go.
Don't harass me, but I'm doing that in honor of this podcast.
That's please don't.
389-880-6674. Just type a text to me that says I'm in, and I'll know what you're in for. And in closing, Andrew, honestly, it's an honor to be here. Just love for you, man. Love for all of our listeners out there that's taking the time for this. If there's one last piece of advice I would love to give any single one of you, because I'm a person that is about taking action. I've given you a lot of philosophy. I can back it up with a lot of science and give you actionable steps to implement, but I don't have time to do that. So the number one difference between a person taking action or not, I can sum up for you in one word. It's the word on my shirt: faith. Faith or belief or conviction. If you can believe, then you can achieve. Okay, if you can believe you can change, you can begin to change. If you can believe that your thoughts and your words and your emotions, they actually do matter and they actually do create for your life, and you can believe that as truth in your life, trust me, it will manifest itself in your life, because by faith, the impossible becomes possible. To him who believes, receives. There's a reason why these truths are echoed throughout the ages, from the greatest transformational leaders, spiritual masters, business moguls, top athletes. All of them will tell you the same thing. Man, you got to have faith. You got to have faith in your purpose, in your mission, in your vision. You got to believe it, guys. So take that from me if you
100%.
take nothing else.
I freaking love that. I'm literally gonna clip that and put "Eye of the Tiger" song right behind that. Like, it'll just be fire, man. Awesome. And I mean that, like, a huge amount of trust right there, right? Like, I'll tell you, I'll never drop myself. So, like, it literally just shows how Morgan shows up for you guys, because honestly, like, I've had the pleasure of seeing his work in action, and this is exactly why I was like, he has to be the guy that I partner with. But we are going to close out the episode for today. I will drop Morgan's information below. I'll also drop in the show notes the live event as well. If you have questions for the live event, you can reach out to Morgan. You can reach out to me. Always happy to answer questions. Other than that, that is all for this episode, team. And we will catch you on the next podcast. Bye. Well, it seems I'm all out of info juice for today. That's all for this episode. And thank you so much for listening. Please leave a raving review for me if you've learned something good, and make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Now, if you're in the mood for some more great content and tools to get your hormones on track, why not check out our free Facebook group and the blog on our site? We do amazing weekly trainings in our group that me and my wife call Tea and Teachings, that give good tips for anything hormones and metabolism related. It's also a great community where you get to share your goals and success with like-minded people just like you. I'll make sure to drop both the Facebook group link and the blog link in the show notes for you. Or if you're ambitious like me, the name of the group is Weight Loss and Balanced Hormones. It'll say Fit for All beside it with a picture of me. So come and join us and have more fun.